everyone, thanks for joining me. My name is Dakota, and on this channel we have fun with learning and creating art. Let's see what we're creating today. So to start with our supplies, I'm using the Canson watercolor pad. I will be using a 0.45 millimeter waterproof pen. It's a micro tip pen from Shuttle Art. I'll also be using a pencil and an eraser. And I'm going to be using my size 8 Curry's brush from the 2500 series, 2 cups of water, and my Winsor Newton Cotman watercolor paint. I also have paper towel and a spray bottle of water there to wet my paint. To start, I'm going to use the pencil, and I'm just going to draw in the vase that I want, the shape. It's not going to be perfectly even or balanced, but that's okay. I like the look of that, as long as it's not too far off, unless that's what you're going for. Now I'm drawing in the center part of the hibiscus flower. Lots of different parts and names for this, but it's the stigma and style. And once I have that in, I'm going to go around and make 5 petals. They don't have to be smooth, and there's a bunch of different types of hibiscus flowers, so you can kind of be free and loose with it. They overlap each other a bit, and then I'll also add in extra lines to show that the petals are moving and flipped over a bit, so you can see the backs of some of them. They're blowing in the wind. And I'm going to be doing 2 flowers with stems and leaves on them. I'm going to speed up this part a little bit, just because I know it's harder to see the pencil lines. I will be going over it with the pen marker, so it'll be easier for you to see. Alright, so the flowers are drawn in, and now I'm using the waterproof pen to go over the pencil. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not doing straight lines. I'm lifting the pen up as I go around. I just really like this loose, rough effect. And I'm making sure that I draw the petal lines right close to the center. And I'm gonna do this for the whole flower, the stems, petals, leaves, as well as the vase. So I'm going to speed this up just a little bit to make it go by a little bit quicker, so it's not too long. But I also wanted to mention for the center, I'm using the pen to add in more detail. It's just lines with dots or circles filled in at the tips of them, and then little haired like lines down, I believe it was called the style. So I'm just going to finish outlining the flowers and then we'll come back. So right now I'm just adding some thin light line detailing. I like to it's like flicking the pen, and I do that from the center out on the petals as well as the tips of the petals, so from the tip coming in. Different sizes or lengths, as well as on the leaves. Just adds a little bit more detail, can be shadowing, just giving it a more 3D type look effect. Alright, so all the pencil lines was erased and I went and got a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to use the spray bottle with water just to wet my paints, and then I'm going to choose what colors I want to paint the hibiscus flowers. You can do any colors you want, it doesn't have to be the same as mine. And the hibiscus flowers do come in many different colors as well as styles or shapes. So here I'm using cadmium yellow hue. I'm also taking some cadmium red pale hue, which is like an orange color, and mixing it with the cadmium yellow hue to give a nice light orange. For the green stems and leaves, I am taking some sap green and I'll add a bit of burnt umber into it. I like mixing greens, browns in together. And with this mixture, I'm also adding a little bit of Hooker's Green Dark just to add a different type of green to it. And for the vase or vase, I am using deoxazine purple, and there was a little bit of purple lake. I started to go with that color, but then I changed it to the deoxazine purple. And it'll be a really light shade of this. So now painting, I am just taking some water from my cups here and just adding it onto the vase, and then I'll go over it, just the the border or outline of it with the darker purple and kind of let it bleed in. And I may, you can bring in a bit of the paint into the center just by gently brushing it in, but I like the border to be darker than the center, and then that way you can see the stems. This is a very loose painting. I'm not trying to be perfect. I don't really care if it stays in the lines, if I paint over all the white space. I'm just being really loose. I like that effect. And it's more fun for me that I don't have to try and be perfect with it. So I started painting the flower petals with the yellow, and I'm adding in some of the orange into the center and letting it bleed out a little bit, as well as adding orange to the back of the flower petals where they bend over a bit. And of course I'll be using green for the stems and leaves, and I'll also add a little bit of more green to the base of the leaves, just to add a little bit more detail to it. You don't have to, that's just what I wanted to do at the time there. Alright, so I decided to grab some black paint and just put it at the base of the style, and then I'm going to put in a really light layer of the orange at the top of it. And of course I love splatter, so I'm just taking some of the orange and adding that in all around. I don't care if it gets on the flower petals. I'm just doing a light amount all over the painting. And now it's complete. Thanks again for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.